Good morning, West Coast. It is time for coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good
Good
morning, everyone. So happy to see you this morning. Welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts. I'm backwards. This is Kristin Odell of KLO. I'm Tina Prigge of Vagabond Creative Studios. So happy to see you.
Good morning. Your coolest cosign is backwards too. I think you're
I forgot to turn the mirror off. Well,
I think mine looks normal, doesn't it?
I think so. I'm trying to see the books behind you. Can we read the titles? I think so.
I think so too.
It's the way I'm used to seeing you.
That's good.
Yeah. It's funny because there was that time where we realized we were backwards in a show, and so we were toggling ourselves back and forth and having so much fun, and it turns out it doesn't show it to the viewers. Like, once you go live in mirror, you're always in mirror.
Yes, that is very, very true. Well, I'm so excited to be on the show with you. We've had all these amazing guests leading up to kind of the Women's Summit and all that kind of stuff, but the special guest is Tina Prigge today.
That's funny. Good morning, Mary. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah.
So Tina, we have talked about letting expectations go. We've talked about a lot of different things. What are you most excited about for the summit this year?
Well, I am so excited to be in the room with all the ladies that are going to be attending and the ladies that are going to be presenting. I learned so much last time. I left so fulfilled, and it was such a rewarding experience. And all of those things that you're talking about, right? Like letting expectations go and establishing our boundaries and taking back our power, right? These are all so valuable. And I'm just really looking forward to, help being in that room and being raised up, but helping to also raise other women up together. It's just so powerful.
Right. And I mean, to your point, I can remember last year, we had set up the night before, I MC last year was a full day. And usually like that would be something that would be exhausting or at least drawing kind of to your energy system. And I didn't feel that at all. I felt so excited and so filled up and so thankful just for how the day went. And like you said, I got to meet so many amazing women in that room that some I had met before, but some I didn't. And it was really, really cool to have them all together.
Hey, just want to say quick congratulations to Mary while we're doing this. She is officially a member of the Artist Guild. Mary, I was looking at photos of them online and I thought I saw you in there. That's perfect. That is a good fit.
How does one become a member of the Artist Guild?
Oh, Mary, maybe you can share that information or even a link back to their website. I think first of all, you have to be an artist and you have to have you have to have a portfolio. So
what you're saying is I don't qualify.
you could try to make the case, but
it's okay.
It's okay. I'm also really looking forward to the day because it is a day that a person can dedicate to themselves, right? Like I get to dedicate it to me being there, and there's yoga, there's good food, there's great information. It's a perfect package.
How good at you are in taking a day just for yourself? Like, do you do this any other time throughout the year?
It's funny, but I don't really do it as often as I should or would like. I kind of feel like once upon a time I might have been better at it. And I just read this book that do you ever like pick up a book and you start reading it and it's the right moment, the right time, it just completely resonates with you?
Yes.
That happened with me. So I had this great book reading experience. And, I'm sure if somebody else picked it up, they'd be like, it's not much, right? Probably totally true. But for me, it was the right moment, the right message, everything. And one of the things that the woman was saying in the book is she was 50, right? And she's kind of having this existential crisis about her life. And she's like, if I went to the grocery store right now, I would know what to get for my husband. I know what he would want, what would make him happy. If I went to the grocery store right now, I would know what to make for my daughter. I would know what would make her happy. If I went to the grocery store right now for me, she's like, what would make me happy? She's like, I think I would just stand there and not know what should I be picking out if I'm making it just for me. And I thought, oh my God, I kind of get that.
Mm-hmm. That's a great example or a great kind of positioning thing to to do with yourself to be like, wait, would I know that answer? I don't know if the first thing that came to mind for me was Oreos. But yeah, really, like if you only had to worry about yourself, what would you do? And again, we're not promoting a selfish mindset at all.
Right.
We're really, what this is really about is filling your own tank so that you can help fill other people's tanks. And whether that's your family or friends or colleagues or whoever it is, it's really about, taking a little bit of time to kind of know who you are and how to care for yourself so that you can give out to other people.
Right, so that you can be the best you in this world and make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read anything good lately?
So I finished the 5 a.m. Club, which was not at all what I thought, but I totally get the philosophy. It's all about getting up early and being productive. Like basically the people who get up early and tackle their day are the most productive people and tend to get in more throughout the day than others. And it was good. It wasn't what I was expecting. And
Interesting.
then I just read a book, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was called The Boy from Block 66. And it was a Holocaust survivor book. This boy was basically sent initially to Auschwitz when he was 12 and a half years old and got split from his mother and his brother there. And he obviously survived and wrote a book just about his experiences. And it was a quick read, but it was really good. It maybe has made me a little, what's the right word? Less compassionate. Like my children might complain about, oh, my hands are so cold, we need to get inside. And I'm like, you are fine for 3 minutes out in the cold, right? Because
Right.
these people lived and worked in the cold. They had to do they basically called them death marches because people died on the side of the roads because it was so cold. And they literally had like very thin pajamas or, jail type clothing. And so, it's made me maybe a little grittier this winter when I think about like, what am I capable of really surviving?
Right.
Which I know that's an extreme, but I just think us having that historical knowledge of what happened and how it happened and celebrating obviously people who survived it and their stories. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I read that and now I'm reading a book called The Comfort Crisis.
Okay, and what's that?
The Comfort Crisis, I just started this, is really just about how, we were essentially built for survival in the wild, fight or flight, reacting, and how in our current state, we are so comfortable that like our version of survival is very like we don't have to search for food, we don't have to take an animal to get meat. We have very luxurious shelter. We basically can keep 90% of our lives at 72 degrees
Right.
is the
Right.
philosophy. And so the book is really about having opportunities to really challenge your body and your mind because it makes you more resilient and more healthy and how to go about doing that. So I'm maybe in 2 or 3 chapters. So I just started that.
What's interesting is that both of those books really seem to be kind of like, as Wendy mentioned, a perspective shift, right? To really make us appreciate what we have right here, right now. Like the Holocaust survivor books, those are hard stories to read, but so important to read. And it's interesting to take that perspective and be like, honey, I think you're going to be okay for 5 minutes. Like,
Right. You're not freezing to death.
yeah.
You're not lacking food and, you're not malnourished and also standing outside. So, there's that. Uh,
Yeah.
but I didn't have these on my list. I just kind of have grabbed them. So I love what you have there.
I'm sorry, it's backwards because I mirrored. But do you want to talk a little bit about this cool thing that you're organizing?
So, yes, I need to I've been so busy with some philanthropic work I'm doing that I'm not doing a good job of promoting. Um, This book came out from Gallup in June of 2023. It's called Culture Shock. It is just all about how the workplace is transforming. There's a lot of new research in here. It's a pretty quick read also, but I'm doing a book club because, and somebody just asked me, like, how do you keep yourself accountable for things that you know you need to do? I need to read and study this book, but I don't always set the time aside. So creating a book club and having other people do it with me is my way of being accountable to myself. But this is the sign up is available through Eventbrite. It is free. I'm not charging anything. You just have to buy the book or get the book from, Libby or wherever. And it's 5 Fridays. We're going to grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink and just talk through whatever chapters are due for that Friday.
And that's going to all happen online. So you don't have to go anywhere, the comfort of your own, favorite space.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. I like the idea of having a sort of a guided conversation about a topic. I love that.
Yeah. And it's 5 Fridays. It's 1 hour. So not a big investment. A few people have asked about, kind of the balance of like, how do I navigate this with work? And in my mind, especially if you're a leader of people or supervisor of people, this is absolutely professional development. Investing an hour in, having conversation about this book and doing the reading, in my humble opinion, is professional development, and your work should support it and they should buy you the book.
Absolutely. Because it's not just about things shifting in the workplace. It's because of COVID and how that just upended and overturned our entire, working society in some regards. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I've started digging in and, it's talking about these skyscrapers in like downtown Chicago, for example, that were filled with employees there's been a diaspora since COVID, right? There's so many people that are still like working from home and now, there's less density there. And so what does that all mean? And how are people working together and still being productive and effective without being in the same space? And yet it's working. And so I'm fascinated to learn more about it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really good research in here about hybrid work. So really what Gallup continues to find is some version of hybrid, meaning I'm at home part of the time and I'm in the office eyeball to eyeball with people part of the time, is really, really valuable. And so there's all kinds of really good stuff in here. And, the other thing is it always comes down to the manager and the leader. So there's some good stuff in here about how to be a good manager and how to connect with your people to make sure they're engaged in their work, even if they're in a hybrid arrangement.
Yeah, this sounds like a fascinating conversation. It's also interesting to me too to delve into the fact that we had this pandemic and what it means and how different people have processed it and how different people have experienced it. I've read a couple of other books now written sort of set during that period, and it's kind of fascinating. And it freaks me out a little bit that we actually went through that. Because now that we're here, like, I'm like, did we really, did I just dream that?
I know it really is interesting, but it absolutely has changed for a lot of people how they work and how they get work done, and it's continuing to change and evolve since then. So yeah, so join us. I will put the link in the comments today. I'm limiting it to 20 because I want it to be an intimate group. I want people to be able to talk and visit. So if you want a spot, I highly encourage you to jump on and save a spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Mary commented on what we were talking about earlier with the Women's Summit. She said, I try to be the best me, but it's hard sometimes with what life dishes out at times. And
Yeah.
that's exactly why we want to all be together to support one another, right?
Right. Well, and it kind of goes to that resiliency piece too, it's sometimes hard to weather that stuff and to kind of wade through it. And when you come out on the other side, you can see, maybe how strong you were or how you held your head up high. Why is that hard today?
Easy for you to say.
You can look back and see it, but when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's just really hard. So,
Yeah.
I think the Women's Summit last year, especially, I just felt a lot of validation and like, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. And I think that alone is encouraging.
I think that's in a way one of the big secrets, right? Is being able to share the weight that's on your shoulders with someone else. And it just, two people make the burden so light.
Yep. Yeah. And it's real. It's real. It's real stuff. It was genuine stuff. And um, so
Yeah. So I need to know, is broccoli back?
broccoli is back. Broccoli's back. Yeah. My gosh. I feel like so much has happened.
I know.
Broccoli came back with St. Nicholas and has moving around and found some new spots that were maybe a little trickier to be found. So he's playing some tricks. And on Monday was Nora's birthday, and he wrote a happy birthday message for her on our bathroom mirror. So he's kind of being sassy too.
So did he write it like in the steam, or did he use lipstick, or how did he write it on the mirror?
Dry erase marker.
Oh.
Dry erase marker all over the mirror. And he didn't even clean up after himself. He's moved on to different places now, and he still didn't clean up his. It's just, I don't get it.
I should clarify, in case anyone doesn't know, broccoli is an elf on the shelf. So we're talking elf on the shelf. So my son was too old. I never started the elf on a shelf custom. By the time it got popular, he was already beyond, thankfully, because I didn't have to think through some of these things. But how, as a parent, so the elf on the shelf is typically pretty naughty, right? Like getting up to all these pranks and kind of tricks and stuff. So how, as a parent, do you handle that, right? Because like if my child went and wrote stuff on the mirror in dry erase, right, I'd be like, what the heck, right? Like you'd maybe like come down on him a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you address the elf's behavior?
So I will just say that our elf, Broccoli, seems to just kind of move around and find tricky spots, but isn't real naughty all of the time. So there's not big setups or things that have to be cleaned up on a regular basis. But I do know some people, first of all, that have multiple elves on the shelves, meaning they're more than one thing is happening with more than one elf in their house.
Oh my God.
Or there's a party to a crime in some cases. So thankfully we have a fairly mild elf. I like to think in my mind that he's close to retirement age where he might just, hang it up. So we'll see.
God.
But
Moms, if you're watching and if there's an elf on the shelf that's part of your family at this time of year, how do you handle that? Do you have conversations afterwards? Like if he's done a prank or something kind of naughty or made a mess, do you talk to the kids and be like, because it's interesting. The elf on the shelf is sort of celebrated, right? You like look for him, it's fun, but he's also demonstrating possibly unsavory behavior. Do you know what I mean?
mischievous.
Mischievous, yeah. So I'm
Yes.
just wondering, moms, how you handle that conversation.
Yeah. The other day he was hiding in this very large kind of tree-ish plant that we have. I'm not a plant person, so I don't know what it is or what it's called. I think I like to think of it as a mini palm tree. And he climbed up in the tree and he was very well hidden. And it took like 25 minutes for the kids to find him in the morning. And I actually got a text from Doug saying, do you know where Elf in the Shelf is? Because we're looking for Broccoli and we're really struggling and the kids need to get ready for school. So I felt like he really had a good hiding spot on that night.
So that's kind of fun that it's like more of a hide and seek game that you're playing with him.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. It's more hide and seek. I've definitely seen some elves that are staged or up to shenanigans with candy and scenes and things like that. Our elf, like I said, is just a little, maybe he's closer to retirement age. He's not quite so adventurous.
So spunky anymore. Mary said, don't do Elf on the Shelf, but loves seeing all of the posts on Facebook of other elves on the shelf. So fun. And Nicole said, no Elf on the Shelf, but I've gotten my husband to dress as an elf for a few years at Christmas time, and that was pretty fun. And then Nicole, does he get up to different shenanigans? Anything you have to explain to the kids, or you're all okay there?
Yeah, I feel like you should take a picture of Mark sitting on a shelf dressed as the elf, and that would make me happy.
That's fun. Mm-hmm. Hey, Kristin, you mentioned that you had a trip away this weekend.
I did. I didn't send you any pictures, so I'm sorry, guys, but
we'll visualize as you explain.
Okay. Imagine it. Chicago, 2023, right before Christmas. Do you know what that was a reference to?
No.
That's, Sophia in Golden Girls always like, "Imagine it, Sicily, 19 blah, 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 blah." 'Kay. Yes, Doug and I decided, we were supposed to go away kind of for an anniversary weekend back in fall, and we had to cancel it, and so this last weekend was a weekend that was for the most part, open, and my amazing mama watched the girls, and we went down to Chicago. So we drove down to Milwaukee downtown and took the train, um, which I highly, highly recommend. It was very relaxing for both of us to sit on the train and talk and read, and just it's different than riding in a car and having to drive into traffic in Chicago. And so we got off down at Union Station, and our hotel was like a mile away, and so we walked. We like walked everywhere this weekend, and it was so. I think on Saturday we put. I'd have to look to be sure. I want to say between Saturday and Sunday we put like 13 miles on.
Oh, nice.
So it's so beautiful in the city right now. Everything is decorated. There's trees and lights and, Christmas bulbs and things just everywhere. It was so pretty. And then on Saturday night, we had tickets to see Hamilton.
Oh,
And um,
was it
it,
amazing?
it is so, so amazing. So amazing. So a couple things. So Hamilton is kind of like the loose story of Alexander Hamilton and what his role was in the Constitution and kind of the beginning of our country. And a couple of things that I didn't know that I loved. First of all, it is primarily done in rap. There's no speaking. It's all in the theme of kind of rap, and then there's a traditional, more musical things. It was like a 2 hour and 45-minute show, and we were glued to it the whole time. And then there's just some characters and some scenes that are just really funny. So we had some really good laughs, but so, so good.
You'd be back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've only seen the film version of it.
Have you?
Yeah, they recorded like a stage presentation.
Yes. We were at a beautiful theater called the Niederlander Theater, which is in downtown Chicago. Super historic and old, a lot of just really beautiful, ornate sculptures and lighting and things inside, just very, like for us, very similar to the Capitol Civic Center.
Mm.
So just this great little theater, and the tickets were not crazy expensive, which I love because I think just that having access to the arts is an important thing for me. I will just say, and for our family, obviously, I have little theater rats at home, but man, if you have a chance to go see it, go see it.
Yeah, I absolutely would. I mean, the film version that I saw, I think maybe on Disney, has oh my gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. What's the guy's name? Lou. Da, 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 da. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't think of his name.
Please hold.
Yes, yes. But who's the guy that wrote it? It's like 3 words.
Yes. Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes. So this version has Lin-Manuel Miranda in it and like the original Broadway cast. So
Yes.
it's so impressive. But I bet in person, oh my gosh.
Yes. And there were people from some of the original Broadway cast in the show. Obviously, it's not a complete cast, but it was so good.
What an awesome treat.
Yeah.
That's pretty
really
cool.
There's tons of like amazing restaurants in Chicago. So we ate good food, and on Sunday we went back to Union Station and walked through the main building for Union Station and there's like, if you can remember in Home Alone, he's in New York and he's in, I think, the train station, and it's like this huge, amazing tree. Union Station is stunning. Stunning. So we walked in and we were both like, whoa, because just this tree was so amazing. So it was fun.
Yeah. Chicago does Christmas so well. Do you know, like, were you on State Street Do any of those huge stores still have that tradition of like
I don't
window displays?
Yeah, we saw some, and we walked Michigan Avenue a lot on Saturday, and, like, even all the garden beds, so if there's, like, a garden bed in front of a store, those were all done differently with different types of evergreens and bulbs and scenes and, statues and different things, and there was just so much to look at. It was really, really cool, and Saturday night after the show, we decided to hop on a rickshaw back to the hotel because it had gotten pretty chilly out. And the rickshaw driver had like Mariah Carey playing on the, music. We're cruising through the city, and apparently rickshaws don't have to observe any traffic lights or anything. So he was like driving through red lights, driving on the sidewalk, driving underneath, like it was so much fun. It took us just like 5 minutes to get back to the hotel on this rickshaw, but it was like a highlight of the weekend because it just was it was kind of like a horseback ride through the city, but it wasn't. It was on a bike.
I didn't know there were rickshaws in Chicago. That's cool.
Yeah. We walked out of the theater and he was right there. And we're like, "You good?" He's like, "Yep, let's go." It was so fun.
Were his calves like columns? Were they like, was he so fit?
So these poor rickshaw drivers, right? Like during the day on Saturday, it was 50 and sunny in Chicago. We walked around with sweatshirts on. It was amazing. Saturday night, it had started to cool down. So they had like sweatpants and winter jackets on while they're like a ski mask. And so,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can't comment on his calves.
By the way, Anna followed up. We were talking about the elf. She said, my best friend has an elf on the shelf. One boy, they added a girl last year. And this year she gave birth to baby elves. Bless her, because I don't think I could keep up with them. Oh,
That's a lot of maintenance.
that is a lot.
I'll give her a round of applause. Well done.
Awesome.
Sometimes it'd be nice if the elf retired. I'm just gonna say that.
And then Wendy said, thanks for the smiles and laughs. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a new year filled with adventure and surrounded by love. Wendy, that is such a beautiful message right back to you and your family.
Yeah. Yes. And I see a note here. Mary said that they're going to see the Nutcracker this Saturday. I believe Gene Wolfmeyer has the Nutcracker at the Capitol Civic Center this weekend, and there's a number of other dance studios doing winter events. So make sure you check that out.
Oh, by the way, can you tell us how Finding Nemo was before we have to sign off?
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
get a chance to go. I saw pictures of the set and stuff. It looked incredible.
Finding Nemo was so good, so cute. It feels like 100 years ago, Tina. It's so good. Yeah, it was really fun. I would just say our girls are so blessed to have so many friends and family come to watch, which just means a lot as an actor to have people like when somebody's in the audience for you. I think it feels different. So they just felt the love so much. Opening night, we sat in the front row, and Nora was Pearl, the little octopus.
Aw.
She made eye contact with Doug, and she was like the biggest. Sorry, that was kind of a creepy smile. That we could see she had like her stage smile on, but there was like genuine joy coming from being able to like see Dad in the front row.
Yeah, it's so true. When I was on stage, like throughout high school and everything, and my mom would come, she's got a very distinctive laugh. And as soon as I heard that, your energy level skyrockets. It just does something.
Yes. So let's talk about, because people are commenting about the holidays. You and I are on next week, Wednesday, right before the holidays. And then we're taking a break.
We're taking a break and we'll be back in the new year.
Yes. So it's always good. It's always, always, always good to do this with all of you.
Yeah.
But we're going to take some much deserved time off over the holidays and spend time with family. And
Mary said, love this coffee on the coast. This always makes my day. You don't know how much this really means to me. I could have the worst day, and listening to you ladies really cheers me up. Mary, thank you so much for saying that. And, just a reminder that reminds me of the Women's Summit that's coming up. It is March 9th. It is the day after, or it's the same day as International Women's Day. Tickets are on sale. You can click the QR code. Otherwise, maybe Kristin, you could even drop the link in the chat again. Yes. It is Let That Blank Go. And so we are really literally going to, symbolically let some stuff go.
I can't wait.
This has been so awesome, Kristin. Thanks for the great conversation.
You guys have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for joining us for this episode of Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Oh, Kristin Odell of KLO. I'm Tina Prigge, Vagabond Creative Studio. We'll see you next time on the coolest coast. Bye all.